This is a demonstration on how to use Tweetdeck for a Twitter chat or Twitter discussion. First off, for those who've never used Tweetdeck before, it can be a little overwhelming at first glance, but actually it makes your life a lot easier. For instance, if you're on Twitter, you have different options. You have your home, which shows all the people you follow and all their tweets. You have notifications, which is your mentions or people who've replied to you or mentioned you in a tweet. Then you have your direct messages, which is your private messages or conversations that you have that aren't seen by everybody else. And then you also have hashtag searches that you can do through here or in the search box. So here's all these different options that you can click back and forth between to see them. Or on TweetDeck, there's actually separate columns for those things so you can see them all at once. For instance, here's my home or my timeline where I can see all the people's tweets or all the tweets of the people I follow. Here's mentions, which anybody who's mentioned me in their tweet or replied to me and responded to me. And then here's direct messages, the private messages I've sent back and forth to people. So I don't have to click back and forth a lot of times to see all this. In fact, I can actually set up new searches or new columns for anything that I'm interested in. If I scroll over a bit here, I have a search running for all my second period students and what they're doing, or in the tweets that they're sharing, so we can work together on stuff we do at school. So to use this in a Twitter chat, what you want to do is set up a search for the particular hashtag that is being used for that Twitter chat. So you click on this plus button, which brings up your new column options. So I'm going to click on search, and I'm going to type in the hashtag that's being used. In this case, I'm going to talk about NGSS chat, so that's the one that we'll search for. Okay, so it brings up all the tweets that have that in there. I can check, yep, this is the one I want, so then I add the column. So the new column actually shows up on the far right of all your other columns. So if you scroll all the way over to the right, you'll see it actually automatically takes you there. So now I can see all the tweets that are coming up about NGSS or being tagged with the NGSS hashtag in it, NGSS chat, sorry. Now when I'm actually participating in the discussion, I'm going to set up two more columns. I'm going to set up one for Fred Indy, who is one of the moderators, and then I'm also going to set up one for Trisha Shelton. I'm going to do that the same way. Click add column, but this time I'm actually going to do a search for the user. I'm going to paste his name in and do a search for that. There he is, so I click on him. It then gives me all his tweets and anything he's retweeted, so I'm going to add that column. And then I'm going to search again, but this time I'm going to search for Trisha and add and make a new column for her. There she is. Now, to make my life a little easier, I'm going to add one more column. And the column I'm going to add now is mentions of me. So while I'm in the discussion, and if people respond to me, I can see all this in the same place at the end of my TweetDeck. So I'm adding that column now. So that's anybody who's replied to me or mentioned me in a tweet, so I can see what they're saying. So now I close this. All right, so I've got 4 columns set up for this discussion. I have the NGSS chat, which is going to be the tweets from everybody. Then I've got Fred, and I've got Trisha, and then I also have mentions or people who have mentioned me. And it's not wanting to scroll over. All right, there we go. So if I close this tweet window, I can see what everybody's doing. So the new tweets coming in, anything that the moderators are posting. So when they start posting questions, I'll see them, be able to respond. and anybody who mentions me or responds to what I say, so that I can respond back to them and see what they're saying easily. Now imagine trying to do that on here. It's going to be difficult, and that's why it's such a benefit to use TweetDeck to do this. So for instance, if I want to respond to this tweet, I can hit reply, and I can say whatever I want. Good. Yeah. And then I also include the hashtag, which I forgot to type in. So I would type in NGSS chat. It's always important to include the hashtag whenever you're tweeting in a discussion, and hit tweet. And there it is, it popped up here. So if someone replies to me, I'll see that over here, and it just makes it a lot easier to see everything. Now, don't get overwhelmed by the columns. It's a waterfall, just let it flow. If you want to go back down and see what someone else was saying, that's fine. But this helps you to manage it all very easily. So to recap, create new columns by clicking the add column button. Type in the hashtag you want to search for. If you want to put up a specific person, then click on user and type in their name, search for them, add that column, and then add a mentions column for yourself so that you can see everything at once. Now, the other option you have here as well is to move the columns. If you don't want them at the end of your TweetDeck, you can actually click on these buttons up here and then move it, or actually remove it. So you have options that way. Anyway, thank you for your time. I hope this helped.